Hey O'Neill, how you doing?
Hey, Bob, what's happening?
Not a whole lot. How you been doing?
Man, doing good. It's just, I can't say it's hot. It's hot by you too.
Oh, I've been doing okay. Um, Starting to see a little bit of life right now, or at least for a short time. But
Hey,
Oh,
Bob,
yeah,
how was Bob, your son was the one you reported a couple weeks back, right? Is everything okay with him?
yeah. He went back to work Monday and made it through about half the day and started feeling really exhausted and getting dizzy and nauseous. He ended up calling the doctor back, and the doctor said he would probably feel that way if he exerted himself for the next month or two.
So your test came back negative, I hope.
Mine and my wife's came back negative. We've had absolutely no symptoms or
Good.
anything. And it's been 3 weeks now, so knock on wood.
Yeah.
That's good.
Hey, Marcel.
O'Neill, are you just trying to intimidate us all with the gun
And
show?
I was just talking about it's hot here, so I was like, my son says, how comes everybody else looks semi-professional and you have a white beater on?
Yeah, how come they all have sleeves?
Marcel,
And you went, because of this.
we've been giving him shit for the tank tops for about 3 months now. And he
Really?
refuses to budge.
Yeah. Hey, well, you know what? If you can pull it off, pull it off.
Yeah.
You still up north, O'Neill?
Oh yeah,
You'll become a lifer up there, huh?
oh yeah, man. Actually, I like it. It's slower, much different in Florida.
Yeah. You gonna buy a buggy and a horse? Or?
No buggy and horse, but got a trailer now.
Oh, cool.
Thumper, what's so funny?
I'm just laughing at Patrick's background, knowing he's across the hall, and that's not the background.
Oh. Yeah, that's funny.
Like, that's not the way we decorated that office.
That's funny.
Hey, Marcel.
Continental.
What up? How's the knee, Robert? I hear
coming
you, but I
along.
don't see you. Oh, there you are.
Stitches out tomorrow. You know,
That's good.
rehab.
You
Yeah.
only did one, Robert, or did you do both? Just one, right?
What's an ACL replacement?
Oh, okay.
It's like the second time I've done the ACL replacement in this knee. So it's truly thrilling.
Good
Ripped a
times.
10-year-old graft out about 7 weeks ago.
Isn't getting old awesome?
You know, listen, the surgeon looked at me. He's a buddy of mine. He goes, you know, if you were a normal 65-year-old man, I'd tell you to sit on the porch for a couple of years and we'd do a knee replacement. But I know who you are, so
Yeah.
we'll go ahead and do this.
You're far from normal, Mr. Roth.
Correct.
And that's a good thing.
And that's the way it is.
Yeah. Whole bunch of things to talk about today, but I'm trying to wait until a bunch more people jump in because we got some things to cover. Chris M. Effin McMean, you are famous this week. I listened to your podcast as much as perhaps I don't always listen to that podcast. I listened to yours and I actually quite enjoyed it.
Oh, good.
Yeah, it was good. Well done.
Which podcast was that?
Chris Lowe's, whatever it's, what's it called?
LD at large.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did one like a couple years ago with one of like the very first podcasts too. So I've done a couple.
Yeah. Yeah, I liked it. I enjoyed it. LD at large, go listen to it. And then come back to mine.
There we go.
Yeah.
So how's everybody feel this week?
I feel amazing. You
Good.
know, I will tell you, for anyone who's having a shit day, without getting into any confidentiality stuff, I've been in a lawsuit with one of the world's largest companies for the last 3 years, and I lost it today. So it wasn't a good day. It was not a good day. And I lost it in a, you know, basically all kinds of weird collusion and bias from, you know, the judge, and just, you know, completely stolen. Like, I have a trademark hanging on the wall behind me right now that was stolen from me, and they got away with it. So yeah,
Bastards.
Thanks.
everyone has bad days. Today was a really fucked up day.
Yeah, and all the lawyer money is now down the tubes, right?
Exactly. So not only do you lose it, but there's no way to recover that money, and you know, yeah. So anyways, somehow I managed to still have a pretty good day, you know, even though that went on, because, you know, part of it is I think about, you know, this, and I hate that I don't know his name, but this Broadway guy who just died, and a friend of mine who,
Nick
yeah,
Cordero.
sorry about that. No disrespect meant, I'm just bad with names.
Sure.
But, you know, and another friend of mine that called me yesterday after being in remission from cancer, has his cancer back. And, you know, so I think about people like that, and I go, yeah, my day wasn't bad at all. I actually had some pretty good things happen today outside of
Yeah,
losing.
you know, we lost a rigger like about a week ago.
Yeah, I saw people mentioning that. I didn't know the person, but, you know,
Joe
every time I see those messages, it's a real drag, obviously. And,
Yeah, he was part of the Atlanta scene, and you know, it's kind of really, really sad because he wasn't communicating, and you know.
yeah. Well, I mean, that in itself, I think, is a very good point, is that, you know, hopefully if any of you are going through some kind of serious trouble, and I know I've reached out to a lot of you sort of personally and individually, but if anybody's going through anything real bad or whatever, just reach out. I mean, even come here and talk about it. You know, I'm not looking for pity from anybody on my lawsuit. I was just trying to say, as fucked up as your day might have been today, mine was probably equally bad, you know, unless it's a health problem or something much more severe than, you know, financial loss or whatever. But
Yeah, nobody's
Which is
at that point.
yeah,
You got a huge support system around you still.
Yeah.
We're all
definitely.
slugging this mud together. Who
Yeah.
who was it that we lost? What was his name? Anybody know?
Roth,
Hold on a second.
he's old, remember.
Yeah, I know. We just went through.
Started with an M.
Hang on.
Escaping me.
He was based out of Atlanta, right?
Yeah, he was Jacksonville for a while, but
Yeah.
he was
Wasn't there someone else too? Wasn't there a California guy?
well, we also lost a Batista in a car wreck in Indiana too, you know.
Yeah.
That was Joe Batista.
Right.
Yeah, I read about that one too.
Yeah, it sucked.
Yeah, that's
Known him for a long time.
that stuff's no fun at all.
No.
So, Robert, as you're looking for that, I'm going to talk about a few other things. So I have a sort of laundry list of some things to cover. Hang on, somebody sent a chat. What does this say? Meet Devo, my whippet. Where is that? Now I got to find the dog.
No, it's somebody posted that Devo is selling the energy things in a face mask. It's kind of funny.
Oh, I see. No, but somebody's got a whippet, a dog named Devo too, apparently. Andy, there you are. I found you. Where is the dog? Now, I have a special hate for that brand of dog or breed of dog because I lived next door to 3 of them. And apparently there's some sort of barking issue with those dogs because the 3 that live next door to me, I am talking nonstop, and they had like a doggy door in their house. So all 3 of them would go outside right to the fence facing my house and just bark constantly, like nonstop. Really? Yeah.
I think
that
that's
one
an
ain't barking
owner
at all.
issue, not a dog issue.
It's entirely true. It's entirely true. But I mean, they're cute as hell. But yeah, they bark a lot, I guess. Yeah, so couple of things from me. So unfortunately, unless we can figure out a way to, and maybe we can figure this out, transfer ownership of the call next week, I cannot do this call next week. I'm going to be flying. And so I can transfer it to like Dearson or something if I can figure out how to do that. What? You lost your voice?
I'm not gonna be able to talk next week.
Yeah. Patrick, be careful or I'll share that video you sent me, because that is still the funniest thing that I've received in the past week.
Oh, my July 4th video?
Yeah.
That was good.
Got all your fingers left, buddy?
I do, yeah. I was very good about the explosives this year.
Dearson on his pool table in his condo with a machine gun in one hand and a handgun in the other hand, dancing to Living in America.
Living in America, it was a good one.
Nothing says
Funniest thing ever.
like that.
Classic Patrick Dearson right there. I mean, I think I spit out whatever drink I had in my mouth when that thing popped up on my phone. So
I believe that was actually filmed last year at 4th of July, and I believe.
oh, was it really?
Yeah, I think it's all over the internet.
Jesus.
It's,
Pathetic.
yeah,
I'm going to send it to everyone just in case they haven't seen it.
It went through the firearms community pretty quickly.
So, I mean, it's really, do you guys want to take a week off, or do you want me to try and transfer somebody the host responsibilities for next week?
Let's take a week off for a change.
All right, good.
Yeah,
Let's get a
it's
week.
my birthday. You should all go out and celebrate.
There we go.
Oh, wow,
Yeah.
Jesus.
Shut.
I invited Strickland on today. He's very busy, and there was nothing new to update today. So really the latest from Strickland is still the, what's it called? CARES 4, I guess, which should include some indemnification, and it should include a new PPP round. And if you haven't got the letter that we should be sending to our representatives in each state, someone here or myself can forward you that letter. But make sure you send that letter, because according to Michael and everybody I've talked to, it makes a huge difference. And some of you, and I think Chris was one of them, but some of you have actually even gotten calls back or emails back and started conversations with these people. So very important.
Can I point something out with that, by the way? I think there's something very important that goes along with that letter that we haven't really driven home. The general public does not truly understand the ramifications that have been handed to this industry. And with things opening up, Vegas casinos, New Jersey casinos, amusement parks, Universal, Disney, people in general really have a false sense that things are going back to normal. I literally had several people in my building this last week ask me, so what's the next show you guys are like? Are you on you travel all the time. You should be heading out soon, right? I'm like, what are you talking about? They're like, well, things are open. Like, we've got stuff going on. They don't get it. They really don't understand it. And they won't understand it until, months down the line, when they start thinking, oh, we can't buy a concert ticket to anything. I guess nothing's really happening. I think that this point is driven home more so the fact that you really should push all of your other friends and relatives, neighbors, everybody outside of this industry to take 3 minutes of their time and send the same letter with all of that same copy, paste, put your name on it. It could not be any easier. We're a $32 billion global industry with a very small group of people that is not capable of making the appropriate amount of noise about this. And it really would help to get the general public starting to make some noise about this, because at the end of the day, it also affects them quite drastically. They will not be able to gain the entertainment that they're used to getting. They won't be able to go to these shows, and they don't truly understand that they're not going to go see a show until next April.
Right. And
So I encourage everybody to push this to their friends.
a good way to do it. It happened. I don't know if you saw. It happened a lot this past week with the Hamilton viewings. There was just an easy poster going around on Facebook. If you're enjoying Hamilton or you're enjoying this or that, remember it took 800 people to put this on. If you watch the credits at the end, here's a link to the thing. Send a letter to your senator. It's the same thing. It's like everybody who tuned into Disney Plus this week probably saw something like that on social media. And if a tiny proportion of them did that, then we're, you know, it's a big help. So yeah, if they're watching, if they're talking to you about a favorite concert, or they're watching a video, or, you know, if you can reach out to the artists even who can put it on their YouTube channels, you know, it's because people are consuming that stuff everywhere except live.
And even that's a very good point, Eric, but also even the, just the Facebook, everybody's sharing Facebook posts with all of these similar messages, and also sharing the Strickland letter on Facebook. You know, that stuff all helps. And I know I've had family members who have pushed out those letters. You know, another thing that's happening is this Plaza thing that's been happening in England with We Make Music, or We Make Shows, or what is it? We Make Events, I'm sorry. And so the We Make Events thing has really taken off and created all kinds of, you know, really, really cool initiatives that are bringing attention. But Steve Warren, who's here, I want him to actually say a couple things. But, you know, Steve has been a big part of that, and his company, Avo, of course.
I don't know about that. I mean, Marcel, we've just sort of, you know, Coy did the work that he did. But I think, in fairness, I'm really glad to have Andy Lentil here, because Andy's been really sort of leading that charge. And, you know, he's been the sort of early adopter, I would say, the early front runner in all of that.
Right.
And it's great to have him here tonight, you know. And I think in terms of getting
I was going to keep my mouth shut, but I can't.
Are you there? Yeah, I think it's in public endorsement, you know, getting the endorsement from those sort of celebrity endorsements that you arranged, Andy, that just seemed to make a huge difference.
Well, that wasn't the We Make Events thing. That was kind of just a hashtag. What we did have is a joint live music industry campaign that was backed and promoted by. It was from like artist managers right through to crew. It was agents, it was promoters, and we kind of got together last Thursday, and I'll tell you, it was really difficult to get artists to stick their head above the ramparts and actually call for help for the rest of the industry. And the hashtag for that was Let the Music Play. But there were enough tweets with that hashtag last Thursday to actually be the #1 trending hashtag globally for 3 hours.
Wow. So why would you say, though, that it was difficult to get artists?
Well, getting through to the manager to prove how difficult it was, it came to pass that a lot of artists were worried about the response, and the response to lots of them were, well, why don't the artists pay? You're millionaires. Why don't the artists give them some money? You know, and that was a lot of response. And it got to the point where by probably 8 p.m. on Thursday, you'd got lots of us, and I'm talking probably virtually every grassroots music venue in the country. Their owners were piling in to defend, you know, Liam Gallagher and Katie Tunstall and all these people who were just getting all the grief, saying, "Why don't you pay, you tax dodging artists?" You know, and it was kind of uncool.
Did you ask them why don't they?
Do you know why? You know, we said thank you for supporting us, and we'll be back there supporting you when you need to play, and we thank you for your support, and we applaud your success. Yeah. Because, you know, without the success, where are we? And you know, if you want to make the choice and write an album, and if you want to rehearse it and perform it from grassroots right through to a festival stage, if you want to take all those chances and have the luck to reap the benefits, then you go right ahead and do that, you know. And
that seems a real sort of surprise and a shame, doesn't it, Andy? Because it seems very easy for the artists to get involved, and they've got every reason. I mean, they're one of the few people who understand what we do and just how hard it is, you know. So
you know, artists did get involved. I mean, this, you know, the hashtag was one thing. There was an open letter written to our Secretary of State for Culture, calling for help for the live music industry, and it just had 3 things on it, and we needed a date by which we can return, because there's a roadmap saying yes, in theory, when this is okay, and no date by which, not even a date until we can't, you know, so we wanted a date, What we also wanted was a cut in, well, basically sales tax on tickets, which was delivered today. Actually, the sales tax went down from 20% to 5% until January.
That's progress.
It kind of is, but it's until January. But if we don't know when we have events, we can't sell fucking tickets.
Yeah, they could give you a tax rebate on tickets until January, and they're not going to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, what a bold move that is.
Yeah,
You know?
and then, but when there's a timeline and we know that we can start again, we need funding, effective funding until then. And on Sunday night, we all got an email at about 9 p.m. saying that, the government have released £1.55 billion in funding for the arts and culture.
Yeah.
But it's not coming down the food chain. It's not coming to the supply companies. It's not coming to the crew. It's a kind of a bricks and mortar measure for venues. And it's welcome. It's so
granted, venues need help, but what about everybody else? You know,
it's the iconic venues. If you come to London, you're going to want to see the Royal Albert Hall because it's a beautiful building, and
I saw
that will not go bust. But it's going to be the Royal Albert soup kitchen for out of work roadies.
Yeah, it's going to be really dark, I think, huh? Without any lights on it.
Yeah.
Well,
it seemed a real shock where a lot of people, even as soon as that announcement went out, were sort of asking. There was this Light It in Red campaign, which was getting a lot of support and people lighting up venues around the country, and it doesn't get people getting involved, and we got involved. But it was amazing that because that it was announced the morning of that campaign, that light up thing was going to happen at night. And there were people asking, is it still going ahead? Like, is it all done? Are we done? Are we out of here? Which is ridiculous, because
that's the issue. That's the issue when people fly solo rather than going in with a team effort. It's we were asked if we wanted to join other hashtag campaigns, let's say, and we just had to reply, well, we're part of something really big next week. You should have told us, and it's and the overarching thing about all of this is everybody wants to feel like they're doing something, and everybody should do what they want to do if they're feeling it helps, because we're all feeling the strain.
Well, but at the same time, Andy, so the thing is, Steve organized a call next week between Plaza's, I think, MD, right?
Yeah, Andy's jumped on that as well. So we've got Andy, another guy in the UK who runs like a forum for freelancers, as well as yourself, Patrick, and Michael. So really glad for you guys to have some into that.
So the point though that I'm trying to make is and I don't want to call anybody out because I know there's a few media people here on the call, but media have a responsibility in our industry right now to, and I know that people have done things like webinars and stuff, and that's amazing and it's very helpful, but we need more editorial. We need to get not just Michael Strickland, reposting his stuff in every issue or whatever, but more sort of, community, just outreach and pounding the streets to get this information out. And, granted, some of our trade publications may not have the right reach to get to people outside of our industry, and everyone in our industry knows we're screwed right now and knows how much trouble we're in, but we need help getting outside, getting an article in USA Today, getting an article in the New York Times, getting articles in, so these trade publications that are owned by large media companies, maybe we can all somehow work together and get some of that information out and start getting outside our little community to have a louder voice, right? So again, I'm not calling anyone out. I apologize.
Marcel?
Yeah.
Marcel, that's my question. Do we have like a target list of who we want to get the message in front of? Like, forget the congressman and all that. Strickland's done a great job with that. I'm talking about media. There's a woman who's a dear friend of mine owns a publicity company.
So these are the types of conversations that we should create. We should get, I see David Barber's here, Miriam's here. Ellen's here. You know, we should, and Plaza in the UK, we should get industry, trade publications, media people together. We should have a conference call. Maybe Robert, you would be a good guy to drive it if you know some people who are in PR or whatever. And let's figure out a way to get this information outside of our little network, you know?
Okay, well, let's do this. Why don't you, Marcel, since you're the team leader here, why don't you put together a short list?
Okay.
And I mean, I'll reach out to my pal and, you know, talk to her about it. I mean, she's a very dear friend of mine. She's in my small social circle of people who I, you know, do dinners with and stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, I
It's
mean,
not that small of a circle.
no, I'm talking about people who come to my home and eat.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Like, there's about 5 or 6 people outside the family who do that on a regular basis.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. So what do you want me to do, Robert? Do you want me to try and put together a call with some of the trade publications and?
Well, I mean, David's here. You know, there's enough here. But what I want to do is try and get, you know, a message crafted so that when I reach out to my friend Tara Murphy and say, look, Tara, this is the problem. We need some help. Can you give me a hand, right?
Yeah.
I think I don't want to speak for everybody on the call who's in media, but I could probably speak for Ellen and me. You know, I think that you're absolutely right. We're not PR folks, right? We're journalists in our own. It's very incestuous, if you will.
Exactly.
The people who David Barber and I would reach are the same people that already know. You know, our audiences are within.
I think you misunderstood, Marianne. What I'm looking for is the message, not a list of people to contact.
I'm agreeing.
I'm looking for us to can a message up so that I can say to my friend who owns this PR firm,
exactly.
This is the message. Can you help us get it out? We're starving here. We're dying. And we see no end in sight because of I'm not here to talk about politics. I'm talking about trying to get, you know, the correct message in front of, as Marcel said, you know, what if we could get something in, you know, the Times or the Wall Street Journal or something, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I was just going to say that we're kind of like all, you know, it's like fish in a barrel. We have the same audiences, so we do need that.
No, Marianne, and that's exactly what I was saying. So what I was saying is exactly what Roth just said. Let's collect our message on our side, and then let's find out who among our crowd, and you know, maybe there's people outside this call too. I know some PR people as well, and it's funny that I haven't approached them yet, but unfortunately, most of mine are more on the franchise side, Entrepreneur Magazine, USA Today a little bit, Inc. Magazine. So those aren't really going to help us. I mean, we need New York Times, we need the Washington Post, we need, you know.
Yeah, so when we do this, like I said, here's the thing that's important. She'll say, well, what is it you want to say? And I want to be able to go, here. This is what we want to say. Get us placement.
Yeah.
And, you know, if she charges me for it, that's a different story. But let's get the message, you know, buttoned up. You know, not the letter to the senators, the letter to the public.
Let me tell you what's happening over here, okay? Or what I see happening. You can create a lovely video about the industry. You can get an industry magazine to do a radio broadcast and put it on Facebook. You can get industry magazines, and I love industry magazines. It's how I paid my mortgage. It's how I bought my house with Total Production magazine. And I love the trade press, but right now, that's just an echo chamber. You know, we're talking to each other.
No, Andy, that's exactly what Marianne just said.
Well, that's what I'm saying is forget the echo chamber. Let's talk about
what I'm
NBC
talking about.
News.
Yeah.
You know?
So now I'm talking about the message outside, and the Let the Music Play campaign was artist and fan driven, but it backed those three asks. You know, all of us could go out, we could build a stage tomorrow, and we could build that. You know, in the UK, we are building stages, we're hanging lights, we're hanging PAs, we're hanging screens, and it's for drive-in movie shows. We can do it safely. You know, the Light It Red campaign, some good friends of mine and Steve Warren's went to Glastonbury and they lit the iconic pyramid stage in red. They did it COVID safely. They're out there building ground supports for TV work, COVID safely. Everything needs to be done safely. We can do it. We can build you a festival right now. So what we need to be doing is having an audience to do that. And the PSA, we're working more to help the artists and the promoters and the agents book shows and have shows, because what we're interested in is the market we serve. So not just music shows, but corporate events and exhibitions. We want those to happen. So more of our focus is on actually helping our client audience get an audience safely into an arena. So we
Andy,
can
not
build
over
the
here.
show to perform.
I mean, not over here in America. Here in America, what we're looking for is, you know, the government's handing out money to all kinds of industry, and people are supporting that. And nobody really is yelling loud enough for that money to be funneled directly into our industry. So it's going to cruise lines, airlines, hospitality, hotels, etc. It's going to the big obvious ones.
Yeah.
And for some reason, ours isn't obvious.
And our politicians here don't want to hand out money to millionaires, artists. You know, in their minds, artists they're fine. It's the artists don't need help. You know, the people that put on the shows need the help, but it's the funding needs to go to the companies that put on the shows, right?
Yeah.
So the Marion, and
I missed the call where Michael Strickland referred to, you know, and there's truth to it, that our industry is a bunch of small villages of, you know, smaller groups, and that he had a
Says
meeting.
the guy owned by Samsung.
Yeah, but he had a meeting with NAMM because they are the only group in our industry that actually has lobbying voice.
Yeah.
Did he ever update that? Because that's, to me, would be the go-to, is band together with who has that biggest voice. And if it's NAMM in America or internationally.
Yeah, but I mean, I swear we didn't plan this today, but I literally sent emails to people on this call today saying, we need a message. We need an editorial that summarizes our situation. There's been lots of slices of webinars and initiatives, but we need a message saying, here's where we're
Marion said, Eric, we got to get it outside this group, you know, because yelling this to each other or showing each other great videos.
I can get it outside this group, but I gotta have something to send. I think we can all get it outside.
So Andy, the We Make Events video, you know, I mean, should we use something that they've already created in Europe, and does it play over here? I don't know. Because
that was a copy of a video that came out of the States 3 months ago.
Okay, so you know these.
It seemed to me, Marcel, sorry to cut in. It just seemed to me that the endorsement, that some household name endorsement, is because our voices, you know, whatever. We're not known. We're not sizable companies that are known. We're not recognized household names. It would seem to me that, you know, the key thing to do is get some
yeah, if you don't have a PR firm. If you have a PR firm, it doesn't matter if it's Marcel and Steve Warren and Eric Loader, or if it's Billy Joel and Mariah Carey. Nobody really cares.
No,
you know, if you've got a PR firm.
We need a Garth Brooks putting a message forward, I would have thought. You know, something that will resonate with the public.
Yeah. Apparently Dave Grohl did a great video about, you know, the structure of the concert industry. You know, get into Dave Grohl, get into the Foo Fighters, and get that out there.
Yeah. So, you know, just so we don't talk about this all day, you know, I think that we should find a way to get the trade publications over here, which, you know, I don't know that there's anybody from PLSN here or whether they'd play friendly with us, but for sure Live Design and Plaza or Light and Sound America. And, you know, Robert Roth, who has offered to sort of be our liaison out to the PR world right now. And let's face it, Robert has a loud voice when he wants to. So I think if he thinks that he can get through to someone, I believe that he can. So I think we should get us together and at least let's figure out what we're trying to do. And then, let's see if we can do it. And if we can put together a video, I think there's 5 or 6 people here or 10 people here who'd contribute a few bucks to get a video put together. And we find a way to get a video if we need a video. And I agree, if you're going for TV or something, a video, but at least have a message that we all agree on, and let's get that outside our group.
Well, what about the video that was done, which I remember seeing that Andy mentioned? It's floating on the
Live
internet.
Event Coalition.
Yeah, Live Event
Yeah,
Coalition.
right.
Like a 10-minute long video, which broke it down to gross domestic product, number of employees, but unfortunately it was just circulated on Facebook. So
Yeah, and we need something editorial, a white paper too, because videos don't always do that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I do know I was on a unemployment. So I've been dealing with a lot of friends in New York City who are on unemployment, who are stagehands and stuff that aren't involved with major corporations. And one thing that we need to really push, I know Strickland is doing this PPP, which is great, but these are stagehands that are freelance. They need this $600 plus up, or they're going to be screwed come 2 weeks from now. So if there's some way that we can incorporate that as well, I think that would be very beneficial to the majority of our stagehands, riggers, all that stuff. So that's my 2 cents on the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's going to be relatively all inclusive. So, it's going to be, companies, it's going to be actors, it's going to be musicians, it's going to be stagehands, it's going to be, or else we've failed, in my opinion. If we don't collect everybody in there, we've kind of failed.
One of the things that I found rather astounding is how difficult it has been trying to push through to get celebrities with voices to make noise about this. Rolling Stone, I just posted it in the chat. Rolling Stone ran an article yesterday or the day before about artist camps that were taking PPP money to the tune of millions.
That was an interesting one. I didn't know about that until
yeah,
I don't
and
know if it was you who said that today, or somebody sent it to me today, or put it on Facebook. But
what I found rather disconcerting about it is the fact that they're doing that. Okay, fine, wouldn't we all? But they're not using their voice to. They're the ones that have a voice, and they're not using that.
Right, but Andy makes a good point, Patrick. If it puts a big target on your head by you coming out and saying, "Hey, we're in bad shape," and then somebody somewhere looks up your net worth and starts going out there saying, "Look at this guy begging for cash, and he's got a Lamborghini and a Rolls Royce and a house in the Hamptons and whatever."
It's not about them begging for cash for themselves. It's about them coming to the assistance of the people that.
Isn't it amazing how media spins things?
It's also, and talking of media spin, this had to be very well timed. On social media, a lot of artists did get that kind of like pushback from people who think they should pay. But also, if we'd have done this a month ago, and the media were reporting that these multimillionaire rock stars want us all to gather together in an unsafe environment to make them more money, that's what the media, the out there media would have said. The mainstream media would have said that, because their kickback to any gathering was, "This is dangerous." So it's kind of, you have to wait for it to spin in your favor.
Mm-hmm.
And the timing may not be right. If you've got states that are locking down harder or opening bars and closing bars, you've got to judge the public perception, because we've got the added, we all have the added issue of we can open events and we can put tickets on sale, but is there a market appetite for people to attend those events that we're opening up? And we have to be, we have to be aware that might not be there. So we may actually be better asking for a further delay and funding until then.
Well, yeah, and I mean, it's an unpopular topic, and I'll prepare myself for bullets from Herrick, but he's at least he's into a text or something, so he's not paying attention right now. Shh, Herrick.
Said my name. You woke me up.
But the thing is, I think that when you see Universal and Disney opening, and they're opening safely, Universal hasn't had any events or issues yet. And my son's been there twice, and he's going again this weekend since they reopened. Disney reopens this weekend, and yes, the numbers are up in Florida. I don't need to hear it. But the thing is, I think people are willing to go to shows. I think we, liability and red tape and, you know, Live Nation are the ones that are holding shows back. It's not the ticket buying audience. We're not ready for stadium shows yet, but I think if you put 5,000 people in an arena, I think you're going to sell some tickets, you know, and that's just my feeling there. I don't know that the buying audience is the issue. Right now, I think it's us that, you know, we're concerned, which we have to be concerned, not only for our health, but for, you know, if any of us get sued due to people getting sick at a concert or something, we're in trouble, you know, more trouble, which we don't need right now, right?
I mean, Marcel, it's Rocco. I witnessed it last weekend. I mean, we were fortunate enough to have shows on July 4th, and
which were amazing, by the way, Rocco. Nicely
thank you.
done. Yeah.
I mean, I went to an event in Dallas that, you know, the show that I did was, it was for the city of Frisco, which is a little bit north of Dallas, probably about 25 miles, and it's where the soccer team, the MLS team plays, and they're co-sponsors of the event, and the actual firing site is at the stadium. And we did some back end. We reached out to the client and got some data points from them today. They estimated they had, and they did it safely, they estimated they had 20 to 25,000 people out there in parking lots watching the event. So I don't think there's going to be any demand issues with people wanting to be entertained. I mean, we saw that all over the place where communities who did their events are really being really they were really well received by their communities. And what I saw at this parking lot at FC Dallas, where they had the people come in and they allowed you had room to operate essentially because there was all these spaces around, and they were able to bring their own, food and so forth. They were having fun, and that was like a great thing to see. Be interesting to see how these Live Nation parking lot shows work out this weekend, to see how that model works. I don't know how the financial model holds up, but I think people are going to go to those things.
Right.
So you got those in the States too, yeah?
I completely agree with you. I don't know that, at the end of the day, I don't know that ticket sales are the biggest part of this problem.
Right.
And I know we keep talking about that, like nobody's going to go to a concert right now. I just don't think that's true, because I see people going to, like, you know, we raced last week in Ohio, and they closed the bleachers, but they allowed fans in, and the hills were filled with people that were sitting on lawn chairs, that, you know, little groups of people that were separating themselves. There was no forced separation of any kind. People would wear masks if they were in larger groups, but for the most part, they were separating themselves in, like, a family here on lawn chairs or a blanket, a family over here on lawn chairs or a blanket, etc. And there had to be, throughout the racetrack, there had to be 3,000 fans watching a small race. And so
that's a reasonable thing, and the venue size is right for that.
Well, it's outside too.
Yeah, absolutely. We need to change the paradigm and how we think of those things. You know, it's just going into an 18,000 seat arena and expecting people to behave themselves. I mean, I know part of that's on them, but there's a moral, if they all go home and get sick, then we're just screwing ourselves more. But outside the racetrack is, that's fine. It's just it's a slippery slope. People will be like, oh, they did this, so let's do that.
Did you guys happen to see I know it was on like the Facebook, the Roadie Facebook page. Did you happen to see like the overhead shot of what the Round Rock Express did in a community near Austin, Texas, where they had a stage line essentially in their outfield, and they had barricade up and everything, and there was this blankets all over the place. And they opened their stadium up to seating, and I'm sure there was some sort of distancing policy, but there was an actual concert there.
Well, but one of the things I would say is, and yeah, I saw that and that was amazing, but like the race we were at in Ohio's weird for some reason. And I don't know if anyone here lives in Ohio, but we would go to restaurants, gas stations, grocery stores, whatever. And honestly, Herrick, I'm telling you right now, I was wearing a mask, but nobody else was, you know? So the night I got there, I went to a Mexican restaurant that was completely packed right by my hotel in the middle of, you know, Nowheresville, Ohio. I forget the name of the town even, but it's right next to the racetrack. And it was completely packed. And for the very first time ever, I felt a little uncomfortable. And so I took my food to go. And, you know, but going to public bathrooms, going in the airport to public bathrooms, whether you're wearing a mask or not, people were staying away from each other. And so if someone was using a bathroom or a urinal or a sink or a whatever, they weren't just coming up and standing right behind you going, come on, man, hurry up. They were standing like a few feet back from you, waiting for you and being relatively reasonable. I think at the end of the day, we can act like humans occasionally.
Yeah,
you know?
it just, people just need to, it's individual responsibility like anything else. It's like driving a car. You know, you're not an asshole when you drive a car, I think. You know,
you don't live in Florida, do you?
Well, no, I've driven enough in Florida. You know, it's just, it's got to propagate, and it's lead by example. And unfortunately, the top examples aren't leading. So we're bottoming up. The examples are coming from everybody on the ground. And when more people see more people with masks, I've biked through the city like 4 times in the last week, and all the bikers are wearing masks, which is incredible and not, I don't know that it's necessary, but it's a little more uncomfortable than you'd like it to be. But all the bikers are, like the regular bicycle bikers are wearing masks, and it's kind of amazing. But that's a culture.
And, you know, again, for me, you know, and I don't want to venture too far into this because it's danger, but whether or not you're wearing a mask, if you're being a decent person and you're giving people some personal space around you, whether you're in a bathroom, a restaurant, a grocery store, riding your bike, whatever you're doing, you know, for me, that's the right thing, is just to be decent people to each other and to recognize that we have this problem. And if we perpetuate the problem by being stupid, you know, that's not a good thing. So
it's never going to go away.
Yeah. And I just wish we could get the politics out of the whole thing, because I think at the end of the day, politics are what's keeping us from working. That's the truth. And I believe that politics are keeping us all from working.
It's incredible that politics got into something that is so simple as wear a mask. And why, you know, it's, thank God it wasn't wash your hands, right? Like, I'm not washing my hands for a week because, you know, it's, at least people understand that washing your hands is a good thing to do. You know?
Yeah.
Crazy.
And I'll leave that one there. The other thing I wanted to mention is TV and movies right now. And I don't know, is Benoit here or anyone else who's in the movie?
I've got a little bit of TV information.
Well, that would be helpful, because I'm hearing it's gung ho right now. Like, there's a lot going on in that world.
Well, I know Josh is not here. I suspect he's working with Caserta. I know that New York is starting to tell the Local 52 crews that, like, Steiner Studios will be ready to go in September. Like, that's the plan. And so that's the New York plan. So
that's good.
That's what I got. And I've got a couple of video shoots that are going to go on on stages that are rentable, that are, you know, it's park and bark, you know, shoot somebody at a mic with a small quartet behind them kind of thing. But those are starting to pop up for the fall. So
yeah,
that's what we'll see.
So I know Tim Brennan is lurking here. Do you want to say hi? Turn on your mic. No.
Hi.
Hey.
I guess I'm the only one from Las Vegas, right?
Is he there?
Am I the only one from Las Vegas?
Who, Tim?
No, Patrick, I guess too, right? And Andrew?
Yeah, Patrick and Gumper is here. And who else is here from Vegas?
Patrick?
I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm here. I've got a dog on my lap and discussing away.
Are you from Vegas now, Patrick? I don't know.
I am. I'm officially Vegas now.
Good.
Tim, what are you keeping busy doing?
they've had weak numbers at the little shows they open. They tried to run Thunder Down Under and the Bee Gees at the Excalibur to, I mean, they were told less than half. They probably got 20% in. I was surprised they got anybody in. But that's been not going smoothly for like your smallest lounger or smallest show.
Yeah.
So, but other than that, yeah, I mean, we're, you know, our shows that are past October seem to be holding, but that's just 30 days away, right?
Yeah.
And then the other thing is, as you all know, every job's in search of money.
Yep.
One thing that was rather disconcerting today, the largest gaming convention here in Vegas pulled their convention out, which is in October. So I think we're starting to see that slow trickle down into the fall.
Yeah, that October thing. It'll be interesting to see if SEMA really does go down, right?
Yeah. Yeah, they're still holding firm. We've got some friends that are working on that stuff, and they said they're still moving forward with it. They're not particularly hopeful about it and being realistic, but they are moving forward with progress on it, which is encouraging for the time being.
Yeah, and then you had two interesting articles come out about Cirque. One was that they were going to focus all their energy on their Las Vegas business, and then in less than 12 hours, another article came out that their primary shareholders didn't like their ideas and they'd be looking for other ideas. So boy, they're really all over the place right now.
Was that before or after they filed for bankruptcy protection?
Yeah, all that's they've given the ideas after, but they said that people hold the money still aren't happy with what they're doing. It'll be interesting to see, but they're really all over.
Because I know there are some guys in my building that work pretty high up in the Cirque chain, and they've been furloughed for the time being, and are pretty sure that they're going to be let go fairly soon.
It seems to be really setting up for a founder buyback.
It sure does. I mean, everything points to that, Marcel.
Yeah,
you know, the guys, as far as us, I don't know if anyone's mentioned, you know, what are we down to, like,
we never talk about PRG.
Maybe 10 guys in each spot. It's just tough. You know, the big trick is when you guys all discuss it. When do you bring people back? When is it for real?
Yeah.
It's all good. We get ready for Nick Jackson to buy it back for pennies on the dollar for a fourth time.
Yeah. I don't know that Nick can pull that one off this time.
We can stand pat for some.
We're depending on you, Nick.
That's a lot of pennies.
That's a lot of pennies. Yeah. Yeah.
Other than that, it's just optimistic, and then you know, just hoping for any good news here. I appreciate the call. This is the first one I made, Marcel. Thanks, and
I appreciate you coming, Tim. I miss you, buddy.
Yep.
How's the installation business going? Because I know that most of the large companies are saying, yeah, our rental division's dead, but installations are still working at.
Oh, I'd say my sister, Barbara, is probably the busiest person in America.
Really?
Oh, yeah. She's, I'd say Four Wall is doing pretty good installation business. They had some work before it started, but my sister hasn't had a day off since it's gone. Our focus isn't as much of what she deals with as far as Gray Bar, Mojave, etc.
Yeah.
But she's got the Sphere going full blast. They finished up on the stadium in LA. Our stadium here is starting to, you know, come to terms. I just don't know. You know, they haven't told how are we going to have a football game for college on September 15th with Cal? How are we going to have?
Well, and I don't know if you saw, but the first, I can't remember which college it was, but one of the colleges just like an hour ago or something pulled out of football or out of having.
Yeah, well, it's all going to happen like Patrick says. This whole thing's, the clock speed's going to start working on the fall jobs now.
But Tim, last week, Strickland said that Garth is still planning to play the stadium in August.
Yeah, I wonder how the governor's going to come to terms with that. I have to see that.
Yeah.
You know, and the other thing that's interesting, you may note, and I thought I saw Eric Wade on the call, but
he's not here.
Yeah, it's kind of interesting. You know, I've made a couple deals with some different people, and it's amazing how people that are even in the sport can't even tell you if they believe that their seasons are going to start, and they won't even commit to the minimalist amount of money. They have no idea, and that's the way it is here. But as far as installation, all that's gone on. I mean, they're spending money. Most of our CapEx is held, but that's been it.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know, again, thanks for being here, Tim. It's nice to see you here for.
It's great to see all these people.
First
And
time.
hear that all these people are out there.
Yeah.
So many of them I haven't seen. Thanks.
Yeah. What else? I think that was really, I covered all the shit I wanted to cover today, but
Tim made an excellent point in regards to the funding from clients. We were actually discussing this morning with Bob Boniel from Mode Studios, and he was asking about projects moving forward and really how to handle, how we handle that in terms of the seriousness. And I had said, I really do think that what we're seeing is the client's level of commitment to whether or not they think they're going to move forward with the project seems to be directly correlated with their willingness to put down deposits on the work that needs to be done for pre-production. And you have, in some instances, guys in particular, like we were talking about with the SEMA shows, where they're absolutely gung-ho about moving forward. So you know that they have full commitment into that. But yet in some instances where we're talking about some clients in regards to CES, some of them are really dragging their feet about it and don't want to commit to actual any payments, but they are looking for a lot of a considerable work being done. So it's we're seeing that a lot of that correlation happens to be with really figuring out whether or not your client is got their heart in it and thinks it's actually going to happen, or if they're just sort of dragging you along at that point. I'm not sure if you guys from the rental house side of things are seeing that as well or not, but that's what we're seeing on the design side.
I always find that that's a good tell of whether the gig's happening if people are willing to write a check.
Yeah. Good point.
Do you think gigs will happen if a law gets passed for the non-suing? Do you think people will just be like, all right, well, I'm not going to get sued for this, so let's open it up. Let's start doing shows.
That's your primary problem for promoters right now. None of them can actually move forward with a job without having a fuck ton of expenditure ready to go for being pulled into legal suits, regardless of whether they're warranted or not.
Well, I think I don't think that that's really the issue, but I think that that's sort of the covering issue, the one that basically allows them a big out or a big in. And so it's that, and it's the vaccine. And, you know, so like Featherstone sent me a text earlier today and said that, you know, somebody in the UK said that, you know, when you start ordering a ton of syringes, that means that a vaccine is ready, and that the US just ordered like 450 million syringes or something for Q1 of next year. And that now he's got clients stacking up shows and booking venues and putting holds on and stuff for Q2 of next year. And it was like, yay, you know, work in Q2 of next year. And I'm going, Jesus Christ, you know, we're just out of Q2 of this year. So I don't know. Like, I don't know if you cheer at that or if you go, God damn, really?
I don't know. If people are willing to go, I mean, the protesting thing is like, whatever, like, I'm not going to get into that. But people are willing to stack up in cities during a protest, and you say that you could have, say, like AC/DC or Justin Bieber, and they're going to do a show, and you know it's going to happen full production, people will buy tickets. I mean, that's just my feeling on the thing. But if a show by Live Nation happens and there is no chance that they're going to get sued, I have a feeling that it will happen. I mean,
I don't disagree
if the governors allow, yeah.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with that. I really do think that that's a huge part of it for Live Nation in particular. Pretty much all promoters that I've spoken to have really had that to do anything without indemnification. Because
I don't know if they're paying attention to the school arguments that are happening among the political debates today, but you know, schools are another one now that are looking for indemnification, because now there's a big sort of climate for, you know, families suing schools if their kids get sick, or suing the state, or suing the government, or suing the city. And
Rutgers just canceled fall residents. All residents are told they can.
Yeah, I'm talking 10-year-old kids going to, you know, the school down the street, little Joey going to 4th grade or whatever, right? Like that to me, you know, so, I mean, if we think we need indemnification for that, great. But I think there really needs to be blanket COVID indemnification. And then if somebody is grossly, you know, stupid and irresponsible, they should still be able to be sued. But for most of us who are running a normal business and just doing the things that we think we should be doing and not intentionally hurting people, we shouldn't be sued, right? Just seems to make sense.
Yeah, it makes perfect sense. It's just a hell of a lot more easier said than written into law.
There's a lot of legal lawsuit lobbyists.
Yeah, how you craft that into a workable document, I think, is one of the biggest issues.
Well, again,
how do you maintain gross negligence versus that?
Going to a racetrack, he already signed like tons of these releases saying, you know, I know it's dangerous. I know bad shit can happen. We're at a racetrack. But the COVID forms that you now fill out, in addition to that, are incredible. And then the fact that you look at that and you sign all these forms and then you go, and we still need indemnification on top of all of this stuff that I just signed, you know, it's really amazing. But, you know,
well, as Weissman has told us for 13 weeks.
I'm a little disillusioned, you know, as what I said earlier, I'm a little disillusioned on the entire legal business today anyway. So, so yeah, I mean, when there's lots and lots of lawyers, bad things can happen. Is really what it comes down to, I guess.
At least we have them running the country.
Yay. Marcia, you've been oddly quiet today.
I've been in a listening mood. I hurt my leg on Sunday, so I've been listening.
Oh, no. What happened?
I don't know. I just pulled a muscle, and it was like, I couldn't walk. I was crooked, literally.
That's another one of those,
recommendation, quick.
It's another one of those age things where you sneeze and, you know, you pop a vertebrae or whatever the hell it is.
Probably. So, yes, but it has been a very festive, and I do love that Mr. Brennan has joined us.
Yes. Mr. Brennan is in the house. So, yeah. Michael Eddy? Is Michael Eddy really here?
I saw him earlier.
No, I see him. I don't think he's ever been here. He's a lurker. He's listening, but not talking.
Although it says Mike, I've never known him as a Mike.
Different Mike Eddy.
Mike Eddy.
Different Mike Eddy.
Oh, it's a different Mike Eddy.
Yeah, there's two Michael Eddies in the business.
Yeah.
I'm the not important Mike Eddy.
Well, that makes you important.
You're important now. Michael's not here.
Yeah.
Mike, are you from Arizona?
Yes.
How is it going there?
It's very discouraging. It's pretty awful. Yeah. The news reported today that we are the highest per capita cases of COVID in the world currently. So it's just, you know, it's the same as our country's been run, I guess. It's just a complete lack of ownership or leadership or anything. It's just really sad, kind of everyone fending for themselves.
Or you just have a lot of cases of COVID and hopefully lots of people don't die.
Yes, that too.
That's how I look at it. You know, hopefully lots and lots of people don't die. So,
yes.
You know,
Yep.
And, you know, New York was in hell, and New York found a way to kick its ass by, you know, being responsible or doing whatever it was that New York did. And so, I don't know, Florida will survive, Arizona will survive, we'll all survive. And hopefully one day we'll be talking about something else other than COVID. That would be awesome.
That would be really great.
Yeah.
Just so you know, after the Spanish flu, there was the biggest expanse in entertainment, theater, and other stuff that had ever happened after the Spanish
But
flu.
there was no Facebook, there was no Twitter, there was no Fox News, there was no MSNBC, there was
the anti-mask league, though. That happened.
Was there really?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, there was an anti-mask league in
How'd
It's the
they do?
same thing.
1918.
Protests, you know, people storming governors' mansions and stuff. Same stuff. Just it was, you couldn't do it all at once because you couldn't coordinate it.
But then you could just shoot people like with arrows and stuff, and you know, it just got better, right?
It was the turn of the century, not the Wild West. In the
Yeah, nobody could afford a gun back then.
It was only 100 years ago.
I said arrows.
Well, Chris, couldn't the argument also be made that the Renaissance grew out of the plague in the Middle
Very
Ages?
much. Very much. Very nice, Marcia. That's good history right there.
Thank
Good
you. It
job.
does tend to repeat itself. So if you just like follow the slices.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah. So
from darkness comes light, and hopefully, you know, that works for us too. You know, because God knows we need to get back to work.
I think if we can focus our message somehow, and I think we just have to all realize we're going to have to bite the bullet for a lot longer than we had all planned for, and we just need more assistance from our governments to get us through this. That's the bottom line.
Yeah.
I just an update. I know I don't want to like beat a dead horse with this, but I spoke to, I know Michael Strickland. We're like talk about like leveraging his message a lot, but I interviewed him today. He made a really good point about something about the letters, which I know we all feel like are probably rote, and maybe people, I think there's a message also to encourage people to just do it, because I worry that people look at that and be like, oh, I'm not going to make a difference. But he actually made a really good point, which was that when your representative or senator, when you write to them, it's like obviously not them looking at their email, and they get this influx that their aide sifts through, and they say, and this is what Michael said, there's over here, there's like 50, I can see like I'm sorting these, there's 50 messages with the subject line animal rights, there's 50 over here, which is about open the beaches, and look, there's like 700 about these entertainment industry professionals, and those are the ones that go to the top of the list. So the form letter, while you may want to have like a personal plea, it actually is impactful that they all have like the same subject line, because
they need to be exactly the same.
Exactly, it hits kind of critical mass, and then they say like, oh, we actually, that's kind of how they're, you know, being analytical with their emails and the influx of messaging. It's not that, you know, Marcia Stern wrote the most heartfelt thing about her time in the industry, not that we shouldn't do that also and get an op-ed somewhere, but it's that on the government, which I know, and I've heard, it's an amazing story. But
we got 500 of this letter right here.
Exactly, that's exactly right. And it's like one is like the meat industry and one are the farmers, but all of a sudden we have this. So not to overlook that little part of it. And if we can get, like I think someone said earlier, the people in our industry, yes, we're hitting them, but if we can encourage our own friends and family even, and in our Facebook share, say like, hey, this might not apply to you, but it applies to your sister, brother, mother, you know, whoever, and friends. Like, just write the damn letter. It's as easy as filling it in. It's not offensive. It's not going to be against anything you believe in, probably. I think that's a little grassroots thing that we can all do.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And encourage our family members to all do the same thing. I think that's like, if 4 of those letters go out from your house versus 2, it's double the impact.
Yeah, agreed, Chris. You know, one of the things, so, you know, Eric just talked a little bit here, but one of the things that's become very much clear to me is that a lot of people talk about the rental companies, talk about PRG, talk about Christie Lights, talk about Solotech, and, you know, these companies have literally lost, you know, almost all of their revenue, and Brennan's here, he knows that as well. We've had John Wiseman on a whole bunch as well. But, and I spoke yesterday with Clay Packey. I had a meeting with the guys in Italy, and they're operating around 15% of their normal revenue. You know, if you make $30 an hour, that's $4.50 an hour. You know, you're now suddenly cut from $30 an hour to $4.50 an hour. If you make 100 million a year in sales, that's 15 million a year in sales that you now have to run your business on. If you're a small rental company doing $1 million a year in rentals, you know, that's $150,000, which is normally a show. And you're now living on that for a whole year. So it's devastating. But when we look at the manufacturers are required today to continue investing in R&D, in development of new products, because when the clouds lift, you guys are all going to want more gobos. You're all going to want some fancy new LED package, some, you know, new laser fixture to compete with the Stelos from Claypaky or whatever. And so most of the manufacturers that I've spoken to, Martin, who Greg, I think is still here somewhere, and Eric, and all of you, you're still investing in R&D, and you're still investing in creating amazing new things. You know, Steve Warren, I mean, what's more expensive than developing new software? And I know, Steve, I saw you at LDI last year. I went to the secret room. I saw the new console. Yeah. You know, you're desperately trying to get this thing released. And I know you're trying to talk, but your mic was off.
No, it's okay. And we're steaming ahead. I mean, it's true. You know, it's not more than 60%. Still,
we can't forget our manufacturers, people, because yes, the magazines need help. Yes, the rental companies need help. Yes, you know, God forbid the used gear peddlers need help. But manufacturers are struggling and are going to continue to struggle even after you all start doing shows again. And we have to realize that, and we have to understand that, yes, we can live off of whatever's in our warehouse and do shows based on whatever's in our warehouse, but we still have to make a conscious effort to, you know, spec some new gear every once in a while, and to go out and sell a new project, lighting a building red or whatever it is. You know, I'm making a pitch for these people because A, I come from that business, but also, you know, I have way too many friends right now that have no idea when sales are going to return, because yes, shows will come back, but everyone always says ours was the first business to stop working and it's going to be the last one to come back. Manufacturers, so if you guys all come back and you're doing shows at full force in March of next year, guess when the manufacturers are back to 100%? Not for long after March of next year. It's a shit show.
14 months, maybe.
It's so, you know, I mean, really, like my heart and you know, I'm constantly talking with all of you who are my friends in this business on the manufacturing side. You know, we got to figure this out, because I don't want to lose Avolites. I don't want to lose Elation. I don't want to lose Martin. I don't want to lose any of these brands. And we're going to lose some brands unless we support these companies somehow. So think about that too.
I think about that, Marcel, but I also know we all have been peddling products, excuse me, the people that have, for less than 10 and 10 for a long time. Our manufacturers still made 40, 50, and 60 points. I feel it, but I also feel that a new product doesn't mean one effects change or an added color. They've been piling on gear for some time. They got to step up. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, well, I think what we've just seen, Tim, is everyone stepped up and everyone realizes that that's gone. So when we were last year, let's call it the wild, wild west of 2019, the biggest year ever in rentals, the biggest year ever in production gear sales and all of this, anyone could sell anything. You know, really, you didn't have to do much to make a new fixture really exciting, or, you know, to be a rental company that could, you know, sell a show or to whatever. And so everyone got away with a lot at that point. I think everyone today realizes, and I'm not putting words in Eric or anyone else's mouth, but, you know, we realize that today we can't just go to, I don't know if he's on here, but Peter Morse and say, hey, Peter, spec my fixture because it's got one extra gobo. You know, that ain't going to happen right now. So this is all sort of a family thing. And Eric saying, hey, Tim, let's work together and let's get this show somehow so that we all win, right?
And I really appreciate what you're saying, Marcel. And, you know, I'll take heart with Tim. You know, I have some sympathy with what Tim's saying for the manufacturers. You know, there's been lots of accusations about, you know, so many new products and not giving the rental companies enough time to pay it back. And I suppose, at least from the console side, the development is it's so involved with the software that, you know, I can look people in the eye and think we've got a sort of 6 to 8 year replacement cycle for any class of product. And so there is time for it to be paid back. But it's not really, you know, I genuinely feel it's not a case of sympathy. And I keep saying to people, you know, my business partners keep focusing on this point when shows return. And I'm like the bringer of bad news, because say, guys, get real. You know, everyone I speak to out there is saying, you know, we've got to pay off our loans, get back on our feet. They're going to use anything that works in the warehouse, and we have to plan for that. And I've sort of been the voice of doom, which I'm not really used to doing, but that is the fact. It's going to be 12 or 14 months, you know, afterwards. And one of the things that gives me faith is that when the shows start, the first people they really need are the personnel, the freelancers. And they're the ones that are suffering the most, you know, whatever. I'm, you know, of an age, I've been in business for long enough that, you know, you make it through. You know, you just got to clamp down on all your spending and you make it through. But I am so concerned about the freelancers, but it's great that you can't put on a show without personnel. So they'll be the first back. And then the rental companies will start making some money, and there are a lot of small rental companies and they need to make some money.
But I guess, Steve, the point I'm trying to make, though, is that beyond all of the dollars, beyond all of the, you know, whatever, we've got Steve Warren, who's invested a lifetime into this industry and, you know, who has put his heart, soul, passion, everything into this, his blood, sweat, and tears into this industry. We need to support Steve Warren. Eric Loader has been in this industry since in his teens, and, you know, has really done everything for anyone that's on this call. He'd bend over backwards for you. You know, Greg, all of the manufacturers who I know who are involved here, you know, really are great people and really have invested heavily in this industry and in the people in this industry too. So, you know, at the end of the day, we're people too. We're not just companies, and it's not just dollars, right? So
yeah, no, I appreciate that. And I'll just say, I do feel what Tim's saying is because he's right. Okay. We've taken some of that 40, 50, 60% contribution margins, and we've taken many of you out to $1,000 steak dinners. And I think there's going to be a shift. And I think we're going to have to figure out as manufacturers how to be as lean as possible, because without everybody else that comes first, we're fucked, right? So like, I want all of you to be healthy first, you know, and we have to figure out a way to withstand or last to that point, you know. Tim, you made a great point, man. And I think those are some things that probably will change. You know, you may not see extravagant $800,000 trade shows anymore, guys. You know, you may not see those trips.
I'll take the value in the invoice, Greg, 10 times, twice on Sunday. And Steve, nobody wants to see an alternate console more than me. So, buddy, get it done.
Yeah. No, Tim, I mean, if anyone knows, you know, how much of a people business this is, like, you know, when I needed it, you put me on the map, you know, in Las Vegas and otherwise. So, you know, this is a people business where friends grab friends by the collar of their shirt and they pull them up and say, hey, I'm going to make you into a superstar, kid, you know, and amazing shit happens when friends take care of friends in this business. And I don't know, I just, for me, like massive corporations, massive debt, massive loans, all those things, those aren't as important to me as, you know, the people who are here and other people that I know that aren't on this call, who really are people who have put everything they have. Like, you know, I'll give you an example. Bob C. one time called me up right after, it wasn't 9/11, it was the 2008 crash disaster. And he called me up, and Bob and I had a special relationship, and Bob called me and he was almost in tears. And I said, what's going on, buddy? And he said, you know, my personal wealth was just cut by about 60% because I believed, or 70%, because I believed in a financial advisor who told me I should put everything into the stock market. And he said, now I'm realizing at 50, whatever years old he was at the time, that I now have to work the rest of my life to make that back. Like, I don't know what I'm going to do. I can't ever retire now. I'm going to have to keep working forever. And that conversation never left me, because it was like, wow, you know, in this industry, more than any other industry I know out there, people have those types of situations where you've invested your whole life into this business. And when shit like this goes wrong, there's people out there losing everything right now. And so, you know, I don't know.
And none of it's our fault, right? This is all nobody's fault in this.
No, because
this
Eric,
industry,
guess
so.
what? You know, I consider you a pretty conservative business person, and I know the people that you work with, they're also pretty conservative for the most part. Nobody had 24 months of reserve saved up just in case we are never going to do a show again. Nobody had that. So to point fingers at people and poke at them and say, you know, you're stupid because you didn't have enough cash reserves, that's just idiotic. I mean, nobody had that. So, you know, I don't think that any of us can really be blamed for what's going on here. This isn't any of our fault. You know, Emily, I see so many people posting things on Facebook, and I just want to hug people, you know, like, even if it's Chris McMean, God forbid, you know, I just want to hug people, because I don't love seeing the shit that I'm seeing right now. Like, this is an industry, we're not in this because it's the highest paying industry in the world. You know, we're in it for another reason. Passion and love for the arts and love for, you know, these friends, this network of people we built. So I hate to see it, man.
I think Chris McMean's pretty damn huggable. I've gotten a few.
All right.
You can hug me.
His hair is getting a little unruly.
I'll
beard.
remotely
What do you
hug
mean?
him tomorrow when we eat sushi together. So, you know.
I got my beard going. Just got trimmed.
Yeah.
And Dearson, I'm going to remotely hug Sasha and Big Lee for you tomorrow afternoon as well. I'm doing a
There
tour.
you go. What's going on there?
Apparently, I'm doing a tour of town, having sushi with Chris, and then some friends of Patrick and I have a bar that's been struggling on First Avenue that I bike past every day, and apparently I'm going to stop and not drink all of their bar before.
But what about Sasha and Digweed?
Those are Sasha and Big Lee.
Sasha and Big Lee.
Oh, I thought you said Digweed.
No.
I'm sorry. Totally different.
I don't even want to know what that is. But yes.
Totally different.
Big Lee was the bouncer and manager at Hogs and Heifers when I first started.
Oh, I remember that when you lived there, and you used to always post pictures of that.
He and I were like we became very close friends and looked like a Laurel and Hardy cartoon standing outside of Hogs and Heifers on any given night. And when that closed, he and his wife opened up their own bar on the east side.
So our bar's open in New York now?
There's a whole bunch of stipulations to how it works, and they've had amazing challenges trying to run that business for a very long time with a lot of opposition, and they've fought every one of them, and they've come through and have now been absolutely walloped by this. And they're open. You're literally selling hot dogs out of the bar and selling shots and stuff. And it's,
everything's to go at all the bars in New York.
But I bike past on the street, Patrick, and there's like 6 or 8 people sitting outside at tables. So they're doing what they're doing. You know,
it's amazing, and they're a testament to resilience and how you have to be in these times. They have overcome so much. Oh yeah.
Well, Hogs and Heifers was a great place. God, I down quite a few with you there, my friend.
A lot of people have, and it was, you know the people that work there and their toughness, and seeing them take that to a business level and push through was pretty amazing. And so seeing them.
What's that bar by the Javits Center that we were going to every day?
Blue Ruin?
I don't know. Do you remember what I'm talking about, Marcia? With
I
freaking
do,
Mark
and
Ecovitch
I do. It's not the dugout, but it.
Oh yeah.
I don't remember the name of it. It's just like on 9th Avenue.
Like
on 9th Avenue and like 39th Street.
It wasn't Mark's. It wasn't that pool. Did it have a pool table in it?
I don't know. I was always drunk.
No pool table.
Okay.
Oh well, name escapes me. My big takeaway from that night out was Winnie.
Yeah, you don't even want to know this story.
Oh,
It's a
bars
bad-
in New York, they all have tales and they all have wonderful stories behind them. I don't think you get that in many other cities, what you get that you find on the streets of New York.
Yeah. Anyone else? Oh my God. Is that trolls that I see?
Oh my God. Jamie, with the true testament to surviving a business mentality.
Yeah.
That's who we need right now.
Here's who we need. We should all be channeling.
Yeah. You know what? Love the guy, but I'm not sure that's who we need right now. I don't know.
Eric, you should start something. What would trolls be doing right now? Because that's
God.
Can you imagine?
He'd say, pull up your skirts, boys.
Yeah.
Nurse. Nurse.
Yeah. He'd be cursing right now. That's all.
God, I miss him.
Yeah.
He'd be pacing and sucking down a cigarette in like 2 puffs.
Yeah.
No kidding, O'Neill.
That's funny. So, anyone else? Mark Ravenhill. I see you there.
Hiding.
He's hiding.
He's multitasking.
Hey, it was his birthday. You should wish him happy birthday yesterday.
Happy friggin' birthday, Mark.
Sorry, Eric. I was happy fucking birthday. I had my 50th birthday yesterday.
50th.
Happy birthday, Mark.
Thanks, everyone.
Welcome
Boy,
to the
I
club.
suddenly feel really old.
Youngster.
And in the entertainment business years, that's like 75.
Right. That's true.
You know, I was talking with, now all I can see is trolls flipping me the bird right now, but I was talking with somebody the other day about that Trackerman showroom that we used to have in Hollywood with the Barcelona, with all the robo-colors that would lock up in the wrong color constantly, you know, and you had to reset them after every single time you ran them.
Right.
It was a cool show at the time, though.
Classic gear.
It was. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a while ago. What's Gerard up to these days? Is he still around? Still?
I actually spoke with him a couple of weeks ago. He's infiltrated his son's business, which is called Mixware, which is in the DJ electronics, DJ mixers, DJ software stuff business. And so Gerard has kind of moved into that business, and Henry was laid off by Loud Technologies. And so Henry now is part of the business. So they've got a whole family business going together. So I keep saying, Gerard, you know, really, when are you going to stop? And he goes, I don't know. They need to pay me back my money now, you know. He's never going to collect it all, really. I mean, it's never going to happen.
He's funny. He's
Somehow
great.
Charles is right in the middle of my screen now. Yeah.
Mine too. Mine too.
That's bizarre.
Mine
Anyone
too.
else?
He's right there in the middle.
Anybody have anything fun, exciting, ugly, nasty, terrible, wonderful?
I got something.
Yay.
Yeah. I know the drive-in concert topic has been kind of a back and forth touchy thing on this call every week.
Only when Wiseman's on the call.
We had a contract actually countersigned yesterday by Soldier Field. So we actually have the rights to the Adler Planetarium lot all the way through the end of August, executable through November.
Wow.
So we are going back to work on the 21st for probably 3 months straight, and it'll be the only drive-in concert inside the city.
Kick ass. That's
Right.
a
That's
killer
cool.
deal. Wow. Do you get to sell the rooftops too?
No, it's the parking lot. So there's access road like by Northerly Island over there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And then there's a parking lot that's right outside the Adler Planetarium, and the backdrop of the stage is the city. So we're hoping the land sells itself outside of the actual talent, because I think that the location is key there. But I know Gibson was on the call earlier. He's working on a fly-through 3D site map right now to help sell, because I think a lot of these concerts, the patrons don't understand what it's going to look like. they're not sure what to expect as far as a production value. So we're trying to put a little money into a 3D model and kind of show people what to expect. So,
yeah.
Congrats, Matt.
Thanks.
So I actually saw a post on Facebook earlier where Herrick, you're a big fan of Mark Riboulet.
Mark who?
Riboulet? Wasn't that you?
Nope. You just assume it's all me.
No, I thought it was you. It was
what was it?
Post on David Johnson's Facebook, and I thought it was you who was corresponding with him.
What was it?
I don't know, but everybody's a Mark Riboulet fan now, and it's funny because I found him when he was like a nobody, and now all of a sudden he's huge, and I can't stand him anymore. But so, anyways, I guess it wasn't you.
John Dunn's calling me, so I'm gonna mute you. I'll say hi for everybody.
Eric's got to go. He's got a bigger name on the other line.
Yeah, well, that's not that hard.
Put him on speaker.
Yeah. Get him in the call. We also have some news. Andrew and myself and the team are going live tomorrow with the soft press release of our pivot with the MedMod trailer thing that we've been working on. And next Thursday, we'll be doing an actual live press event with local and hopefully some national press here to cover it live for TV.
Patrick, what exactly is a soft press release? A press release that no one reads?
Well, it's the white paper press release that goes out as opposed to the
oh, I see.
Whole one.
Oh, congratulations! I mean, I think what you guys are doing is very, very cool. And
more importantly to all of that is that it will be the big push to this is the fact that it's the heartstring story of the fact that something in the entertainment industry is shifting and trying to make the best of the situation by pivoting to save lives. So it'll help generate a little bit of awareness in our own way to show the world that the entertainment industry is really struggling right now.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Have you guys
I assume you're going to invite the industry press to that, even if they are your ex-wives.
Yeah, believe me, I know we got to fucking send it to you too.
I know you gotta, but you gotta.
Yes, now the official release will go out tomorrow.
Yeah, guys, I was lucky enough to get a sneak peek at it on Friday, and it's pretty amazing what they've built. So I think you guys are going to be really impressed once you see the final result.
Thank you. Yeah, we're getting very close.
Well, again, I mean, we're such an industry of problem solvers that, you throw a thing like, hey, I need a mobile hospital at this group of people and it's no big deal. Like, really? Hold my beer. I mean,
that's true. I mean, they're
like,
all right.
You look at Gumper and some of the shit that he's built for some of these shows. It's just like, what? So this is easy.
Yeah, that's the background I was expecting.
Very cool.
Hey, Patrick, did you say the first announcement's tomorrow?
Yeah, the first press release is tomorrow, 6 a.m. I'll get you in advance on that.
Yeah, I think if you guys feel like it, at your leisure, but it would be great to do some kind of 15, 20-minute little video interview. We could do share screens, whatever you think about details. I mean, that would be great, before the weekend, if that's not too soon.
That is, I think we can definitely do something along those lines. Yeah, we're finishing up and getting to a presentable stage, hopefully by Friday, Saturday.
All right. I mean, it can be next week too. I love to get a jump.
I think it might be better Monday or Tuesday to be able to do that because we'll have it finished and cleaned.
Yeah.
The final big push here is all the, it's the 80-20 rule of getting that last bit done. So we're just trying to ultimately get it polished up and ready for true presentation.
You guys got any interest yet?
Lots of
yes.
Yeah. It's starting to take off without even being out there yet.
That's cool.
Yeah, I was actually a little amazed. We started getting ready for this. We did the big social media population of content, getting the Facebook page ready that hasn't been published yet, and then the Instagram account. And literally I started it yesterday, and by 3 a.m. was getting all of these various likes and follows just based on the hashtags alone. So we're hoping it's going to take off like hotcakes. We'll see.
What is it, like hashtag don't fucking die or something like that?
Basically, yeah. No, there's, you know, obviously a lot of the medical industry terms, military medical industry terms, things like that.
So are you actually going after the you know, the government, the military?
Yeah, very much so. Yeah, and multiple governments. We're looking to
now I understand.
Target audience for this would be federal agencies such as FEMA, as well as disaster response companies. There are plenty of privately owned disaster response recovery companies out there that specialize in just getting the government contracts to do major cleanup and provisioning for these types of things. So we're discussing it on multiple levels, also looking to start talking to groups like Delta Force at Fort Bragg for their procurement for overseas sites and things like that. So
very cool.
Slowly chipping away at it.
Yeah. Good luck to you guys, man.
Thank you.
You basically just made a CIA black site that can appear anywhere they want it to.
Funny you should say that.
Yeah.
So on top of everything else, these things are designed basically off of a container. They're not refurbished containers, which has been up until this point the sort of popular thing for people to do, thinking that would actually work, which unfortunately it doesn't. But the Dutch government did a major seizure the other day on a container company that was literally being used for a torture site.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, I thought of you.
Yeah, it was.
Yikes.
Ours has the water built in, so you just got to bring the towel. It's a little easy.
Hang on.
You're sharing.
Hang on. Here it comes. There it is.
No, that's the video that you need to make go away now.
Oh, this is such bad video.
My video is much higher quality.
Yeah.
Missing hair, bros.
Exactly as planned.
It gets funnier every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, folks. So next week, I apologize, but I'm not going to be here. So we are looking at 2 weeks. I'll send you the invite. And
2 weeks is good.
Great. Thanks.
Be safe, be good.
Again, Marcel, thank you for doing this.
Oh, thank you.
A nice respite every week.
Of course, I'll do it as long as people keep coming.
Yeah, thanks, Marcel.
We love it, Marcel.
Thank you, guys.
Bye, everybody.
Have a good 2 weeks, everyone.
See you guys.